Have you ever had a neighbor so awful that they made you dread coming home? Because I did. My name is Sarah, and 3 years ago I bought what I thought was my dream house. It wasn't a mansion. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. After years of saving every dollar and working endless overtime shifts, I finally had a place to call home. The first few weeks were perfect. Then I met Linda. Linda lived next door. She was in her late 50s, always watching through her curtains, always knowing everyone's business, and always looking for a reason to complain. At first I tried being friendly. I baked cookies and introduced myself. She looked at the plate, forced a smile, and said, "Hopefully you're not one of those noisy people." I laughed awkwardly. I should have seen that as a warning. Within days, the complaints started. My music was too loud. My car was parked too close to the property line. My trash can was visible from the street. My dog barked too much. The funny thing? Most of those things weren't even true. But Linda didn't care. She wasn't interested in facts. She wanted control. Every morning I would find anonymous notes taped to my door. "Be respectful. People are watching. Some neighbors don't belong here." The messages became increasingly hostile. I reported them to the homeowners association. But without proof, nothing happened. Linda always smiled sweetly whenever anyone else was around. She had mastered the art of looking innocent. Months passed. The harassment grew worse. One afternoon, I returned home and found fresh tire marks carved across my lawn. Another time, my mailbox was damaged. Then my security lights mysteriously stopped working. Every incident happened after an argument with Linda. Yet somehow there was never enough evidence. She knew exactly how far she could push things without getting caught. I was exhausted. I started feeling anxious every time I pulled into my driveway. Friends stopped visiting because they didn't want to deal with her. My dream home was becoming a nightmare. One evening, after finding another threatening note, I sat in my kitchen and cried. Not because I was weak, but because I felt trapped. Then something changed. Instead of feeling defeated, I felt angry. Not reckless anger, focused anger. I decided that if Linda wanted a war, I would fight it intelligently. The next day, I installed security cameras. Not 1, not 2, 8. Every angle of my property was covered. Motion sensors, cloud storage, backup recordings, everything. And I told absolutely nobody. For several weeks, nothing happened. Then Linda got comfortable again. One night, around 2 a.m., a motion alert appeared on my phone. I opened the footage. There she was, Linda, walking onto my property. She dumped a bag of trash across my front yard and hurried away. I finally had proof, but I didn't act immediately. I waited. Over the next month, the cameras captured even more. She damaged my flower beds. She moved property markers. She threw dog waste into my yard. Each incident was carefully recorded and saved. The evidence was overwhelming. Still, I stayed quiet. Linda believed she was untouchable, and that was exactly what I wanted. Then came her biggest mistake. One Saturday morning, she called the city and filed a complaint claiming I had illegally built structures on my property. Inspectors arrived. They checked everything and found absolutely nothing wrong. But while speaking with them, I learned something interesting. Linda had filed dozens of false complaints against multiple neighbors over the years. The inspectors were tired of her. The city was tired of her. Everyone was tired of her. All they needed was proof. And now I had plenty. I organized every video, every photograph, every threatening note, every report. I created a timeline showing years of harassment. Then I submitted everything to the city, to the homeowners association, and to local law enforcement. What happened next was beautiful. The investigation moved quickly, much faster than Linda expected. Officials reviewed the evidence. The HOA issued major fines. The city charged her for multiple violations. Law enforcement warned her regarding property damage and harassment. For the first time in years, Linda couldn't talk her way out of it. The videos didn't lie. The evidence didn't care about excuses. Her reputation began collapsing overnight. Neighbors who had quietly suffered for years finally came forward. More complaints surfaced. More stories emerged. The perfect image she had carefully built started falling apart. And then came the final twist. Linda had been planning to sell her house. She wanted top dollar. But ongoing investigations, neighborhood disputes, and official complaints became part of the disclosure process. Potential buyers started backing away. Months later, she was forced to reduce the asking price significantly. The woman who spent years trying to destroy everyone else's peace ended up damaging her own future. Eventually, she moved away, The day the moving truck arrived, the entire neighborhood seemed lighter. People smiled again. Children played outside. Barbecues returned. It felt like a storm had finally passed. As for me, I stayed. I planted new flowers, fixed the lawn, invited friends over, and slowly reclaimed the life she had tried to take from me. The greatest revenge wasn't making Linda suffer. It wasn't humiliating her. It wasn't yelling or fighting. The greatest revenge was exposing the truth. Because bullies thrive in darkness, but the moment the lights come on, they lose their power. And that's exactly what happened. Linda spent years believing she controlled the neighborhood. In the end, her own actions destroyed everything she worked to protect. And I never had to break a single rule to make it happen. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's simply letting people face the consequences of who they really are.